Welcome to Life's Beautiful Synergies. I'm Dr. Rachel Behling. In today's episode, we're discussing how not to critique ourselves, not to create space for honesty and collaboration. We'll talk about what it means to release anger or resentment we may be carrying into the rest of our lives, and how holding on to what no longer serves us can quietly drain our energy and our focus. We'll also explore the pressure we have to have everything figured out by now, our goals, our purpose, our next moves, and why uncertainty isn't a flaw, but a natural part of growth. And finally, we'll challenge the idea that happiness has to wait until some future milestone. This conversation is all about moving forward with less weight, more clarity, and permission to grow as you go. Let's begin. So, question I have for today is, how does anger stay in your body long after the episode, long after the cause of you feeling anger or resentment? It stays in your body as a reflection and a reaction to the stress, to the overdrive, to the questioning of why it happened. Oh, how dare that person do this to you or with you or against you? Sometimes that anger, we don't understand why it happened. So our brains, our emotion, our unconsciousness keeps thinking about it, dwelling about it. And that settles in our body in a way that isn't healthy. And oftentimes you have to think about how to let it go, without feeling like you're citing yourself or you're disrespecting yourself by not staying mad, by not staying upset or frustrated with whatever or whoever was the cause of it. So my advice here is that when you start to feel that you're holding on to something that is no longer healthy, being able to release that, let it go, and find a way to move past it is how you can physically let your body stop holding on to something that is no longer positive. It's no longer bringing value to you. And you staying mad or having that resentment is oftentimes only hurting yourself. So I want to encourage you to find those moments and to let go of them and move past them as a sign of self-respect for yourself. Sometimes resentment feels a lot more personal than it needs to, and that will often lead to us holding on to it long after the situation has moved on, or long after we even realize what we were resenting in the first place. As you think about resentment, sometimes you resent getting passed up for a promotion, or you resent maybe the way someone treated you where you didn't agree with it. You thought that it was unnecessary or uncalled for. There's a million reasons why we can hold on to resentment far longer than kind of makes sense in the moment or given the situation. So being able to really look at, what am I truly resenting? What do I feel bad about? What is bringing on this resentment in the first place? And then being able to step back from it and saying, how can I let go of that? How can I move on from it? And it's not, uh, my mom is a perfect example. I don't think she has a resenting bone in her body. She only sees the good in everyone. And sometimes when I was younger, I used to feel so frustrated because my mom never got mad. She never held a grudge against anybody. She never resented anybody for spiting her or slighting her or doing something to her. And I used to feel so protective. But I used to ask my mom, why don't you stand up for yourself? Why don't you resent that person for how they're treating you because of your beliefs, or the fact that you're a school teacher, or that you have certain religious beliefs or practices? And she used to always remind me that her resenting that person didn't actually bring peace to her life. It didn't make her feel any better. It didn't make that person feel any better. And she was the only one that was carrying that burden around with her, even when that person or that event or that person wasn't even around her. And so that was a life lesson that I've carried with me as I go forward. And of course, as as I come across those situations where I have every right and every reason in the world to resent a situation or a slight or a comment, I have to think about that approach from my mom and that mindset that, is it really serving me? Is it helping me in any way? And it's definitely not hurting the person that I have the resentful attitude towards. And I'm finding that it was only hurting myself. So being able to let go of resentment, being able to face it straight on, and understanding what it's doing to my life, myself, my mental peace is oftentimes not worth that burden that we're carrying. So there's some very practical ways for us to be able to move past resentment without feeling like we're not fighting for ourselves, we're not defending ourselves, we're not standing up for ourselves. Tip number one is to truly be honest about what you're resentful about. Sometimes it's we may resent a boss that passes us up for promotion, but do we really resent our boss, or is it our own? Is that just the only way that we're able to accept the fact that we didn't get the promotion, but it's really our insecurities or our lack of self confidence that we didn't want to face? So, tip number one is to really have a moment of true self reflection on what is the resentment truly from. And then, second is have an honest conversation with yourself or with a mentor, with a trusted friend, um, with the loved one, or with the person that you're feeling the resentment for or from, and to have a true conversation about where did it come from and what purpose is it serving. And sometimes if you can do those and I am saying they're very simple, they're not easy, but they may be very simple. Doing those two things could oftentimes free you up from months or even years of carrying that resentment when there is absolutely no value and absolutely no reason to carry that resentment even one day further. So, oftentimes for high performing individuals, they build their brand out of the reputation of having it all figured out. To be in a place where they're so self confident and appearing to be confident that they appear as if there's no ambiguity, that they know the right way, they know the right decisions, they know the right choices, and they always make them. But I will be the first one to tell you that none of us have it all figured out. So much of what we do, especially in high-tech environments where the technology is changing, the pace by which we need to adopt and adjust to changes in the marketplace, demands from our customers, it is so fluid and is so full of ambiguity that none of us could even begin to have it all figured out. But being at peace with chaos, being at peace with understanding and keeping that curiosity of, hey, I don't know this tool. Let me ask some questions. Let me figure it out. Let me ask the person that looks like they figured it out or they have a path forward. Having that approach of constantly being curious and constantly being a student of everything around you is one of the ways that we can all get past that imposter syndrome of trying to appear that we have it all figured out and just be absolutely okay with the fact that none of us do. None of us are expected to. And settling into that is actually a much healthier brand than trying to always live up to the fact that you think that people around you think that you should be always perfect. So there's a fine line between overthinking everything and being able to make those decisions in the moment to move forward past ambiguity, chaos, and unknown. So, what is that healthy balance, right? Between asking yourself self doubt, keeping yourself grounded in reality, not letting your ego get too big or too ahead of yourself, and always staying curious. There's a fine line, but a couple things that you can do. Thing number one is to step back and really, really understand w- what is it that I'm trying to understand. What am I stuck on? Why am I questioning myself? Why is this keeping me up at night? Why do I keep circling back on the same thing? Or why am I frozen to take the next step? Because I'm so unsure of what that is. So that's the first thing, is being able to really understand what are you stuck on, and is it grounded in reality or not? So that leads to the second one, having that network of people and colleagues, trusted people in your circle that you can bounce ideas off, that you can have brainstorming sessions in, that are not decision making calls, but simply to understand the situation, the problem that you're trying to solve, and to gather information so that you can get unstuck, so that you can get unfrozen and you can move forward in that space that you feel so much comfortable in, where you can make decisions, you know the true north, and you don't get in that loop in your own head of trying to decide, God, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I enough to make this decision? And so those two tips, above all else, can help you at least to get unstuck and moving forward. And that forward momentum is more valuable than anything else. So, how can we give ourselves permission to change directions without us internalizing that as us being quitters or not being able to have enough grit to follow through with something? My advice here is that if you can find the relationship between that thing that is not working well, not going as you intended, maybe it's a goal, maybe it's a strategy or a vision, something that you're striving for, but it's so much effort, and any momentum feels so painful. It's such a struggle. You're not finding any wins, any joy in the journey. That's when we need to step back and decide, is staying with it actually being me more stubborn than the benefit of completing it? And sometimes we make New Year's resolutions or we make promises to people. And then after a couple months, we kind of sit back and then we realize, you know what, that wasn't aligned with my core values. It wasn't aligned with future me. Maybe that's a goal or a promise that I made in the moment to placate somebody or stop a parent from nagging me or to make my boss feel like, okay, she's got it, she can take care of it. But it really wasn't directionally correct with the values and the direction or the projects or the customer value that I'm trying to deliver, and being able to step back from that and to be able to course correct and not let yourself feel like you're a failure or you don't have grit enough, but to be able to internalize that as continuous improvement to truly stay on track to the goals that are really important to future you. Sometimes we tie happiness to a major milestone. I'm going to be truly happy when I have that big house. I'm going to feel so proud of myself if I pay off all my student loan debt. I'm going to deserve to be happy or feel successful when I finally get that big job promotion or that big title that I've been chasing for the last 4 years with this company. But sometimes we don't give ourselves that approval or that freedom to be happy now, in this moment. Sometimes, especially as women, we feel like others will judge us if they see us happy, but we haven't arrived. We haven't achieved all the things that we think other people are watching us, thinking that that's the end all goal of why we do our daily activities. And I want to encourage each and every one of us to adjust that mindset that being happy in the journey helps us to truly chase the right milestones. Because if you're waiting to be happy or to be proud of yourself or to be proud of your team or proud of somebody in your family until they've finally achieved that milestone or that social standing or that job promotion or that status in society, maybe we're chasing the wrong thing. Or maybe being happy should be the goal, maybe not the milestone. And so I want to encourage each and every one of us to truly put more value in having happy moments, happy memories, and a happy life than tying it to some milestone or some accomplishment in the future. It's okay to be happy now, in this moment, because happiness is tied to everything. It's tied to long-term fulfillment. It's tied to your physical well-being, your mental well-being. And guess what? Above all else, happiness is extremely contagious. And I'm going to repeat that. Happiness is extremely contagious. Now, I'm not talking fake happiness. When someone looks visibly upset and you ask them, "How are you doing?" and they give you some fake answer, but I'm talking genuine happiness, genuine joy. You walk into a room and someone in that room is resonating joy. It's so hard to bring that dark cloud with you when you can see that someone is truly happy. For those of us that are dog people, think about your dog every time you come home, every time you walk in that front door, that genuine happiness of that dog to see you. Um, that is contagious. It's so hard to be upset at your puppy, even when you have a bad day, when you walk in the door and you can see that happiness and you can see that joy. It's the same thing with people. It's the same thing with joyous and happy leaders, where if I do something well, I can genuinely see it on my boss's face that that brings her happiness, that she feels joy when I feel proud of something that I've done or something that my team has done. And so it sits in your heart, it sits in your face differently. It sits in your body, in your stress levels, in your ability to process and get through moments of anxiousness, of chaos, and of anxiety. So having that expectation that life has joy, that every day has the possibility to have joy and happiness, that's the expectation that we should each and every one of us demand out of the moments that we have, the relationships that we have, and the hours of the day that we go through. That should be our minimum expectation for the lives that we live. So there is a mindset shift to bring us from I am willing, able, and worth it to be happy in the journey, to be happy in this moment, to be happy for the little things, to find joy in every day, to find joy in successfully completing 5 back-to-back meetings, to successfully being able to bring a genuine compliment to someone who has not been performing well, but who has stepped out of their comfort zone and done something that you can see has true pride on their face. That's the mindset shift to get us to be happy and joyous in the moment for the journey that we've all chosen. Some of the things we don't choose, but we can choose to find joy in the everyday, not holding so much expectation that when I accomplish this milestone, then I'm allowed to be happy or to have that joy. And that is that mindset shift to bring it to the day, to bring it to the morning, to bring it to those moments along the journey. That's the mindset shift that will change a life of constantly chasing the inevitable milestone that once you're there, guess what? There's just going to be another milestone. There's just going to be another big accomplishment. But finding that mindset shift to have joy in the moment is where life truly starts bringing value in your everyday. As we close today's conversation, take this time as an opportunity to notice where you might be holding on to resentment, pressure, or expectations that are quietly weighing you down, and to choose what's worth carrying forward into the rest of the year. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Growth often looks like adjusting, releasing, and learning as you go. And you don't need to postpone happiness until every goal is met. Allowing moments of ease and contentment now can actually support more sustainable progress over time. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to continue the journey with us. Follow Life's Beautiful Synergies wherever you listen to podcasts, and connect with me online for more conversations on intentional goal setting, resilience, focus, and sustainable leadership. Thank you for being here. Until next time.